The beginning and the end are one and the same. Yes, all is right with the world.
Have you ever envisioned yourself as alone? I don't mean there's nobody around or no one's answering their phone. No. I mean alone. Like you can't relate to anyone or be understood by those around you. Alone like you simply exist, separate from the rest of the world. Like you just feel some form of disconnect or distance from those around you. No matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to find a conjunction with others. There's an invisible wall between you and others, and this fundamental element is what it is that stops you from being connected to someone else. Now before you run off to your therapist and start to question what's going on in your head, know this. You are not the only one that feels this way, and this thought process has taken up the time of philosophers, scholars, and theorists for years. This is the main theme of Hideaki Anno's 1996 anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it is the main thing that Shinji Ikari, the main character in the anime, struggles with throughout the show.
Thank you.
Hey there folks, this is Crimsonfang Productions. I am the Sangwithal, and today I'd like to talk to you a little about the Elden Ring ending that I chose for my first playthrough, and the influence which made me choose said ending. In Hideaki Anno's masterfully executed remake conclusion to arguably one of the greatest anime series of all time, Neon Genesis Evangelion, the cataclysmic event known as Third Impact is prima facie perceived as an end-of-the-world event where all living beings are unshackled from their physical form and merged into a planet-spanning ocean of LCL, which pretty much means being sacrificed and reverted back to the primordial soup that is believed we all came from. It is explained by Ray that everyone would exist without definition once the physical wall or barrier between individual people was removed, leaving us all to share ourselves completely with the whole world. It also implies that everyone would be united into this sea of LCL. Humanity, in a way, would become omnipotent, being everywhere and nowhere at once.
Do you want to be at ease? Do you want to feel peace of mind? Do you want to become one with me? To have our bodies and souls join as one?
I'd rather die than do it with you.
Given that Shinji, the main character of Evangelion, fears being alone, you would think that he would jump at the chance to embrace this Third Impact event, and he could finally experience all the connections and revel in the joy of being together with the whole world. But he doesn't. He rejects this formless mass of humanity and chooses to go back to everyone being separate entities, where he is again alone, disconnected, and exposed to pain and negative experiences, just like before. Unfortunately for Shinji, spoiler warning, by the end of the movie, the only person he has managed to bring back is Asuka, and all he wants to do, even though he has previously tried to confess his love for her, is to strangle her.
How disgusting.
In the original 26 episode series, Quaru tells Shinji and the audience that we are all fundamentally alone. That no matter what, no matter how much we may be connected to others, we are all separated from each other by our own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and souls.
Men cannot erase this sadness because all men are fundamentally alone.
How do I explain it? Okay, think of it this way. No one on the planet, and I mean no one, is ever truly known to another. Yeah, your mum might say something like, I know my child, I grew them inside me. But she's lying. Sorry to break it to you. So not a great analogy. Okay, here's a better explanation. In Greek mythology, Momos, the god or aspect of criticism, said that humanity was flawed because they didn't have a window into their heart so that the gods could see their true intentions and their true self. This is what it means to be truly alone. You might put everything on the table and expose your deepest, darkest self to someone, but you are never going to know that someone else is doing the same. Just like that person you have just opened up to will never know if you have done the same. This is explained simpler with Ray's monologue while the world's population evolves from their human form into a puddle of orange goo. She states that
This world is overflowing with sorrow. Its people are drowning in emptiness, and loneliness fills their hearts.
as you can see, when everyone dies, or in other words, when their physical shell breaks open, they see, as described in the DVD commentary, their true love. This should tell you that this transition from human to LCL should be a happy moment. Yet, as with all assumed hallucinations, the viewer questions what they see and are confused. Some are even freaked out, probably because the majority of them see Ray, a 15-year-old girl whom most workers from Nerve felt uncomfortable to be around. And that just goes down another rabbit hole that I am not going to go anywhere near. Whoa. Hold on, Sang. What is the hell this about? I thought this was a video about Elden Ring. What's this Third Impact bullshit all about? Well, 1. If you think Evangelion is bullshit, then get the fuck out of here and go find yourself some culture, scum. 2. Yeah, this is an Elden Ring video. But just give me a second to simp over my favourite anime, just for a moment, while I put across this setup. Alright. So it's known that Hidetaka Miyazaki is a lover of anime, and we all know that he gets a great deal of influence from one of his favourites, Kentaro Miura's dramatic magnum opus, Berserk. There's Guts' signature greatsword and the sellsword armour set as the most common ones, but in Elden Ring I noticed a couple other animes that Miyazaki might have been influenced by. A few of these influences come from Studio Ghibli's movies, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, and Castle in the Sky. But it's the influence that I saw from Hideaki Anno's Evangelion that made me choose the ending which I went with. So, there's a good number of endings available to the player when it comes to Elden Ring. 6 in total, and each of them has their own merit for what players would call canon endings. But there was only one that I could have chosen for my first playthrough, and Evangelion is influence as to why. Let's break down those endings. 1. Mend the Elden Ring, become the Elden Lord, and restore the cycle as it has lasted for the known ages. Vanilla. 2. Stick the mended Death Rune into the Elden Ring, become the Elden Lord, and have the cycle of life end at death. No more respawns for you, and no more feeding the Erdtree with souls, allowing the world to move on from one age to the next. 3. Be a twisted Elden Lord and make wee omen babies for the rest of time. Kinky, but a bit on the manky side, as the process of omen cursing is to pump your curse into a dead body. You mock it fucking rank bastards, man. Defiling dead bodies like that, you make me sick. 4. Perfect the Elden Ring and make the world better and fairer by removing the element of pride or ambition. This would mean that everybody would live a dull, grey life where nobody thinks highly of themselves or those around them, gullibly accepting the world as it is, like those twats in Demolition Man.
What seems to be your boggle?
Yeah, fuck knows what was going on with that golden mask guy. Pointing his finger at the Erd tree and having a blind guy decipher his finger twitches. Yeah, let's give him an entire ending all to himself. Aye, alright then. 5. Become Elden Lord of the Ashes once the Frenzied Flames can of energy drink wears off, thereby making you top of the Glowmite Queen's shit list. Basically, destroy the world, all its mistakes, and then somehow end up being hunted by Melina for the rest of the time. How that works after the world's gone is beyond me, but hey ho. 6. Summon Ranni and usher in the Age of Stars, where you, Ranni, and all other beings in the lands between can break off the shackles of the Outer Gods, the Elden Ring, and the Fingers, on a 1,000-year voyage across the stars. Basically, we free ourselves from the Golden Order by sticking up a middle finger, just like Keanu Reeves did to Lucifer in Constantine, as we slowly float off and fritter away into our new formless empire.
This one belongs to me.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Let us go together. My dear consort eternal.
I hate this place. I hate this loneliness.
So let's look at the game fundamentals for a moment from a narrative perspective. In the intro, we see all of those that are granted grace by the Greater Will, declaring that the last hope of the Greater Will is to leave the player a touch of grace, enabling you to see the guiding light between sights of grace and seek out the demigods for their runes. This is the first sign of being singular, for the Tarnished walks almost the entirety of the lands between, with nearly all whom they encounter being hostile. Any or all NPCs you come across acknowledge you as Tarnished, yet some of them point out that you are uniquely gifted with seeing the trail of golden glint streaming from the sights of grace.
Follow that glint of gold.
Additionally, only one NPC, apart from Melina, tells you of your maidenless status, further rendering you as unique amongst the common tarnished populace.
However, you are maidenless.
It is widely acknowledged that as a tarnished, you are but one amongst an endless number of tarnished, seeking the greater runes. Yet you are the only one in this world that is either able or willing to gather the runes together and mend the Elden Ring. We've all seen the shot in the intro of the Mausoleum of the Tarnished, so there's plenty of us to go around. Yet all of the other Tarnished we meet are either NPCs, hostile enemies, or invaders. Now, invaders come to the player from their own dimension, making them the only one in their world too. All players are therefore alone in their own world, entirely singular and defined only by the choices of their actions, which puts us onto the rails of the whole free will subject.
Nobody wants me, so they can all just die.
Then what is your hand for?
Nobody cares whether or not I exist. Nothing ever changes, so they can all just die.
Then tell me, what is your heart for?
It would be better if I never existed. I should just die too.
Then why are you here?
Is it okay for me to be here?
So, if you're all alone, everyone you see is trying to kill you, and some of the characters in the game are actively trying to manipulate you into doing exactly what they want you to do. Why would you want to go for any of the endings that would have you play pawn to the Greater Will, the Two Fingers, or the Golden Order? Okay, I'll admit that when you play the game performing the minimal requirements to complete, you are at least doing what Melina tells you to do. Yet there is another character who needs you to do all that they request of you to achieve their goal, and they are fundamentally unique in their aloneness, just like you are. And now we come to the crux of the matter, and what all of this has been leading up to. Ranni the Witch is probably the most unique of the characters in Elden Ring, and has the most compelling stories of all the characters, except the deliberately ambiguous characters in the game.
But ambiguity only causes me more pain.
Fans were introduced to the shiny blue four-armed waifu when they saw the cinematic trailer back in December 10th, 2021. Personally, I was intrigued by her physical appearance. The forearms, the blue skin, the subtle cracks on her wrists and neck, and the weird design on her hat, and the spirit face conjoined to her own face. It was then I decided I wanted to find out more about this mysterious creature and figure out all I could about her. So once I got into the game, I tracked Ranni down, and as our quest progressed, I found out all I needed to know to make a decision at the end. So, what makes Ranni so unique then? Well, let's break down our key points, which support my line of thinking. 1. She introduces herself at night, the only NPC to do so. 2. When she introduces herself, she puts the merchant to sleep, allowing only us to speak, no witnesses. 3. Whenever you see a player interact with Ranni at this point, the scene is always framed the exact same way, with the full moon sitting over her shoulder. Now, I know that you can use the camera and move and angle it any sort of way, which way you want, but as anytime that I've seen her in videos, it's always framed the exact same way, so cinematic props. 4. Straight away, she plants the seeds of doubt by questioning how long it will be before the tarnished tire of the obeisance to the Two Fingers. 5. She has Blythe, making another Berserk reference. 6. She instigated the Knife of Black Knives, to unshackle herself from her two fingers and find her own destiny. 7. When she set the Black Knife assassins to kill Godwin the Golden, she willingly sacrificed herself for the bloody ritual to succeed. 8. Despite all the lofty goals that the other demigods have sought to achieve, Rani actually has a plan. Well researched and painstakingly calculated and planned over the course of centuries possibly. 9. Her questline is the most in-depth and the most relatable of all the questlines, as she is the only one who speaks to you on multiple occasions, letting you know why you're doing this for her, and why she needs to work from the shadows, even from those who serve her. During her questline, she becomes less guarded and makes you privy to her most secret information. Trust works both ways, and Rani understands that. 11. She tells you repeatedly to be sure that following her is the right thing for you to do. She knows the gravity of the situation and the risk to you is somewhat paramount, despite the fact that she knows that you can respawn even if you fail any part of her questline. She knows that giving up the two fingers, the Greater Will and the Golden Order is a great leap of faith on your part, since she's done it herself.
How long will it be, I wonder, before the
12.
tire of a
Once all of her questline is done, despite her Dark Moon ring telling you to leave the ring where you found it, she accepts you as her lord, opening herself up and allowing herself to love and hope again. Now that we've established Rani's uniqueness, let's get back to the point in hand and describe the Evangelion references that influenced my decision of the Rani ending. First off, there are two moons in the night sky at the Moonlight Altar, the full moon and the dark moon. The full moon is Renala's aspect and is therefore given the title of Queen of the Full Moon. The dark moon, in my opinion, is the Frost Witch Rena's aspect, and so is given to Rani at the culmination of the ending. Now, what is it that Selin said about the stars, the moon, and glintstone shards? That's right, kids. Glintstones hold the residual life of the stars and the moon. Now take a leap with me. There's a connection to Evangelion, as the white moon and the black moon are the vessels which the angels Adam and Lilith respectively travelled to Earth within. The black moon crashes to Earth and populates the planet with the Lilin, or the children of Lilith, humanity, and the white moon just orbits round Earth. Full moon, dark moon, white moon, black moon. Not the best reference, I'll wager, but you know, there it is. Well, let's take a look now at one of the pinnacle moments in Rani's questline. When Rani accepts us into her service, she tells us of the eternal city of Nokron, where we are tasked to go in order to retrieve an item she needs to begin our journey. This item is the Finger Slayer Blade, a weapon capable of killing the two fingers. Now in Evangelion, under the city of Tokyo 3 is Nerve HQ, which is situated inside a geofront, a cavernous area set underground. When the JSSDF, that's the Japanese Strategic Self-Defense Force, attack Nerve HQ in the end of Evangelion movie, they need to nuke Tokyo 3 to allow access to the geofront, just the same way that when we defeat General Rodan, a meteor grants us access to Nokron. But what lies in the depths of Nerve HQ? Well, originally, the Lance of Longinus was kept in Central Dogma, a weapon capable of breaking through an Angel's or an Eva's AT field, and therefore leaving it vulnerable to attack. A god-killing weapon in and of itself, but at the same time, the JSSDF's attack on Nerve, the target is Lilith, the first angel, whose Sele, the shadow organisation pulling the strings in the story needs to enact their human instrumentality project, or bring about third impact. In the lake inside the geofront lies an inactive Eva Unit 2, lying still as if dormant, yet it suddenly activates when provoked by the JSSDF, and Asuka rediscovers her sync ratio, or realises that her mother's soul inhabits Unit 2. I know, it's a weird anime, but stick with me here. Found only in the underground map areas, within a body of water, or scarlet rot, as with the instance during Rani's concluding part of her questline, we are faced with the Dragonkin soldier bosses. Humanoid yet colossal, this creature seems to be wrapped in bandages, with a few armour plates on its face and shoulders. Note the facial design. It's pointed, almost like a boat or a shark. And then look at the Eva units when they go berserk. Eva Unit 1 acts bestial, crawling on all fours and brutally pummeling and then eating the angel. Here too, we see Eva Unit 1, once it's been recovered, wrapped in bandages, just like the Dragonkin soldier appears. Later, we see Asuka's Unit 2 being disemboweled by the Eva series, and while she tries to go berserk, we see the state that Unit 2 is left in, much like the Dragonkin soldiers is found disemboweled. Three Dragonkin soldiers, 3 Eva units. Wait a minute, Sang. 3 Eva units? You've only mentioned 2 so far? Oh, right. I was getting to that. Unit 0 is the prototype model, which is piloted by Rei. You remember her. She's the 15-year-old schoolgirl that almost everyone sees when they start popping out of their bodies. Which takes me to the most telling of all the references in Evangelion. Side note, just to clarify, all the Eva unit pilots are 15 years old. But anyway, moving on. Throughout the series, Rei is a mystery. No one knows where she came from, who her parents are, and her background file is deleted. No one interacts with her outside the main characters of the story, and even then, it's a struggle for them to interact with her in a social sense, as she is quiet, cold, answers only yes and no, never elaborating when questioned, and some would say that she's unemotional. At times this becomes the accepted norm for Rei, because despite how much she might creep people out, she achieves her objectives when piloting Unit 0. Her purpose as a pilot outweighs her failure as a human being. She's analytical, pragmatic, philosophical, and if she gets hurt while out on mission, doesn't matter, so long as the mission objective is achieved. This makes her the most efficient member of the 3 Eva pilots, but it's not enough for her to stop being distant. She stares into space when she's not on mission in the series, always off in her own little world, never in the moment or part of the group around her. She shows no involuntary reaction to outside stimulation, almost as if she wasn't conscious or she simply was just unable to switch on her senses. Everyone walks on eggshells around Rei, apart from Asuka, who berates her with verbal jibes and a will to dominate the group, despite being outshone by Rei and Shinji at every turn. This comes to a point in this scene where Asuka confronts Rei in an elevator at Nerve HQ.
I am not a doll.
Did you hear that one there? She's not a doll. Yet Rani possesses a doll, and from that controls the puppet which we all believe is her body. Well, that would then mean that Rei would be the opposite of Rani. Well, no. The Rei that you see in the Evangelion movie is the third Rei in the series. Yeah, okay, let me verify. The Rei in the end of Evangelion movie is the third clone, possessed by Rei's soul. You see, the original Rei was a clone of Shinji's mother, possessed by the soul of the first angel Lilith. I know, it's messed up. Rei tells Mission Control during a lethal encounter with an angel that even if she dies, she can be replaced. She knows about her clones because she spends her free time within the tank of LCL, where all of her clones are currently floating, inert with a smile fixed on their faces. When Rei 2, the second clone, dies and is later transferred into her replacement clone, she has no recent memory. Yet when Shinji visits her in the hospital, she quietly acknowledges that she must be the third one.
I think I must be the third one.
So instead of a clone, Rani transfers her soul into a puppet, which arguably could actually be the body of her tutor Rena. Okay, random theory insert. Rani used or has access to Renala's greater rune of the Unborn to clone Rena's body, so she can possess it and remain anonymous to any seeking her out. Back to the subject of the Rei clones that are inside the Miclog system tank. All the Rei clones are identical, yet they're referred to by Dr. Ritsuko Akagi as soulless dolls, hinting at their flawed state.
But even so, I'm lost to these things, to these soulless dolls.
Now look at Renala's boss room. Her cloned daughters are all identical and soulless, making them just as equally flawed as the Rei clones in the tank. Want more similarities? Alright. They all smile at the Tarnished, and they all giggle just like the spare Reis in the dummy plug tank. One of the biggest twists in the story is when Shinji's father instructs Rei to initiate Third Impact. She clutches Gendo's hand, which houses Adam's embryo, and says,
I will not be a puppet for you to control.
and thereby denying him, taking exactly what she needs to begin Third Impact and then using that to achieve her own goals. It's one of the best fuck you moments, since Rei, who everyone sees as this emotionless, unfeeling, empty vessel, was the only one to put Gendo in his place, arguably making the boldest move out of all of the main characters in this entire story, proving that she possesses free will and isn't afraid to exact that free will when push comes to shove.
I'm home.
So right now, there's a little thing we need to talk about here, relating to Rani's ending. It's widely understood that the English script for Rani's ending was a mistranslation from Japanese, and that some people believe that the Age of Stars ending is somewhat bad, because Rani swears that we'll all go out into the stars into fear, doubt, and loneliness. That the Age of Stars would be dreadful, cold, and a dark existence, where all you have to look forward to is being cold, scared, and lonely. However, the Japanese script, when she first tells you of her plan, is that we have to go far away from the Golden Order and find our own order among the stars, where we will never be seen, felt, believed in, or touched again. This tells of how she not only sought to unshackle herself, but all living beings from the tyranny of the Golden Order. That her goals are selfless and even benevolent, as she makes no claim to be a god in this new order, and in theory, everyone would become a god, and free to rule over which part of the Sea of Stars they journeyed out towards.
It'll be lonely.
Despite the mistranslation, I concluded what Rani meant with her words was that the only thing that we needed to worry about throughout this 1,000-year journey would be our own fear, our own doubt, and our own loneliness, as we would be the only one to make you think this way or conceive of any negative thoughts. My best way to describe this would be to reference Warhammer 40,000, where in the mirror dimension known as the Warp, demons live. Now, despite the name demons in the 40k universe, they are not inherently evil, but it is the negative emotions of humans which would birth what we would define as evil demons within this mirror dimension. So I would conclude that in this 1,000-year journey into the stars, your own negativity would be to blame for your measure of fear, doubt and loneliness. That you're fundamentally in control of how much hurt you will experience. So after all this, what other influence have I noticed in the game which tops off all the other influence theories? Well, at the end of the underground section of Rani's questline, we fight Estelle, a being who has fallen to Earth from space. There are a few of these creatures that you fight, like the Fallen Star Beast and other Estelles. They each come down from the heavens and are hostile on sight. Evangelion has these kinds of enemies too, and they're part of the main reason for the enemy's existence. The angels.
So it was thee who would become my lord. Perhaps I needn't have warned thee. I am pleased, however. Thou art a fitting choice. I go now to the night sky. It is there I shall find mine order. I bid thee travel the path of the Lord, and once all is done, we shall see each other once more.
Okay guys, I know I've rambled for quite a bit now, and I've gone back and forth with my claims and comparisons, and I really appreciate you viewing to this extent, and I'll round up here with this. When one views a piece of original work and notices a hint or a flicker of an outside source, we immediately find the familiar bond to that work. This connection can act like a synaptic spark in the brain, giving a domino effect to spawning more and more familiar bonds. Having already been a fan of certain works from Software, namely Otogi, Dark Souls and Sekiro, it becomes wholly more gratifying to play through a game and to happen upon a character, a situation, or even an item that speaks to you on a deep and personal level that emulates a connection between you and the creator of the work. In conclusion, I loved that I could see these connections between Elden Ring and Neon Genesis Evangelion, more so than the Dark Souls Berserk connections, as I was so deeply moved by the Evangelion series personally. I would really appreciate any insight from you guys, if there were any other anime or any other entertainment sources you found during your playthrough. I would greatly welcome any who interviewed Miyazaki on the matter of outside source materials if Evangelion was one such source, as that would be really awesome to know. If any of these theories could be verified, I would love to hear that. But that's it for now from me guys. Give me your input in the comments below if you think I'm onto something here, or if I'm just seeing what I want to see. Thank you all so much for watching this video and staying with me throughout the entirety. I really do appreciate that. This has been Crimsonfang Productions. I have been the Sanguithal, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers guys. Guys, I want to give a quick shout out to Fextra Life and the amazing work that they've done in building the Elden Ring and Dark Souls wiki. Give their channel a look at if you haven't already been there. The work they have done went a long way to making me put this video together. Another shout out goes to Zeostorm for his video on the Rani ending mistranslation. Check him out too, I know he'll appreciate it. And then just a collective shout out to Vatividia, Aegon of Astora, Smowtown, The Lore Hunter, The Ashen Hollow, Endymion, Kite Tails and Flex, Blood Ronin Gaming, Miss Chalice, and Ray Jakari for the great work they have done and contributed to the lore community behind Elden Ring and Dark Souls. Give them all a bit of love, folks. And finally, a shout out to Anno for the brilliant work he did in creating Evangelion. It changed my life. Thank you very much for that one. And then, of course, to Miyazaki himself for the great work that he and From Software have done, and hope that they continue to do for the foreseeable future. Again, guys, thanks. And remember, keep supporting the creators. Bye.
O locus ille, betus quondum nunc deminuit, nos destinatem matribus nunc fiunturpes, ploravimus, lacrimavimusque, sed nemonos consolatur aureum cui irascebat.